The Kushan Empire was a syncretic empire formed by Yuezhi in the Bactrian territories in the early 1st century. It spread to encompass much of Afghanistan, and then the northern parts of the Indian subcontinent at least as far as Saketa and Sarnat near Varanasi, where inscriptions have been found dating to the era of the Kushan Emperor Kanishka the Great. Emperor Kanishka was a great patron of Buddhism. However, as Kushans expanded southward, the deities of its later coinage came to reflect its new Hindu majority. Kanishka sent his armies north of the Karakoram Mountains, capturing territories as far as Kashgar, Khotan and Yarkant, in the Tarim Basin of modern-day Xinjiang, China. A direct road from Gandhara to China remained under Kushan control for more than a century, encouraging travel across the Karakoram and facilitating the spread of Mahayana Buddhism to China. The Kushans were one of 5 branches of the Yuezhi Confederation, a possibly Iranian or Tocharian, Indo-European nomadic people who migrated from the Tarim Basin and settled in ancient Bactria. The Kushans at first retained the Greek language for administrative purposes, but soon began to use an Iranian Bactrian language closely related to the modern Afghan languages, absorbing the coinage system, Greco-Buddhist religion and art, and the Central Asian tribes that had previously conquered parts of the northern central Iranian plateau once ruled by the Parthians. The Kushan dynasty had diplomatic contacts with the Roman Empire, Sasanian Persia, Aksumite Empire and Han China, while much philosophy, art, and science was created within its borders. The only textual record of the empire's history today comes from inscriptions and accounts in other languages, particularly Chinese. The Kushan Empire fragmented into semi-independent kingdoms in the 3rd century AD, which fell to the Sasanians invading from the west. In the 4th century, the Guptas, an Indian dynasty, also pressed from the east. The last of the Kushan and Sasanian kingdoms were eventually overwhelmed by the Hephthalites, another Indo-European people from the north. Historian H. G. Rawlinson states that the Kushana period is a fitting prelude to the Age of Gupta's origins. Chinese sources describe the Gushwang, i.e., the Kushans, as one of the 5 aristocratic tribes of the Yuezhi, with some people claiming they were a loose confederation of Indo-European peoples, though many scholars are still unconvinced that they originally spoke an Indo-European language. For well over a century, however, there have been many arguments about the ethnic and linguistic origins of the Dai Yuezhi, Kushans, and the Tochari, and still there is little consensus. The Yuezhi had been living in the arid grasslands of eastern Central Asia's Tarim Basin, in modern-day Xinjiang, China, possibly speaking varieties of the Tocharian languages, until they were driven west by the Xiongnu in 176–160 BCE. The 5 tribes constituting the Yuezhi are known in Chinese history as Xiumi, Gushwang, Shuangmi, Zijun, and Dumi. The Yuezhi reached the Hellenic kingdom of Greco-Bactria around 135 BC. The displaced Greek dynasties resettled to the southeastern areas of the Hindu Kush and the Indus Basin, occupying the western part of the Indo-Greek kingdom. General Cunningham identified the Kushans as Gujars. The word Gusha is referenced in the Rabatak inscription of Kushan king Kanishka. According to some scholars, in this inscription the word Gusha, which means Kulputra or man or woman born in high family, not for Gurjars, early Kushans. Some traces remain of the presence of the Kushans in the area of Bactria and Sogdian. Archaeological structures are known in Taktai Sangin, Surkotal, and in the Palace of Kalchayan. Various sculptures and friezes are known, representing horse-riding archers, and significantly men with artificially deformed skulls, such as the Kushan prince of Kalchayan. The Chinese first referred to these people as the Yuezhi and said they established the Kushan Empire, although the relationship between the Yuezhi and the Kushans is still unclear. On the ruins of ancient Hellenistic cities such as Iconium, the Kushans are known to have built fortresses. The earliest documented ruler, and the first one to proclaim himself as a Kushan ruler, was Hyraios. He calls himself a tyrant on his coins, and also exhibits skull deformation. He may have been an ally of the Greeks, and he shared the same style of coinage. Hyraios may have been the father of the first Kushan emperor Kujalakadphises. Bangu's Book of Han tells us the Kushans divided up Bactria in 128 BC. Fanye's Book of the Later Han relates how the chief of the Kushans, Kushan, founded by means of the submission of the other Uachi clans the Kushan Empire, known to the Greeks and Romans under the name of Empire of the Indo-Scythians. The Chinese Huanshu Chronicles gives an account of the formation of the Kushan Empire based on a report made by the Chinese general Ban Yong to the Chinese emperor c. 125 AD. More than 100 years later than the conquest of Bactria by the Yuezhi, the prince Ziho of Gushwang established himself as king, and his dynasty was called that of the Gushwang king. He invaded Anxi, and took the Gafu region. He also defeated the whole of the kingdoms of Puda and Jiban. Qiujiuke was more than 80 years old when he died. His son, Zhang Aozhen, probably Vem80Ahk or, possibly, his brother Sadiskana, became king in his place. He defeated Tianju, northwestern India, and installed generals to supervise and lead it. The Yuezhi then became extremely rich. All the kingdoms call the king the Gushwang Kushan king, but the Han call them by their original name. Yuezhi, Huanshu. Diverse cultural influences. In the 1st century BCE, the Gushwang gained prominence over the other Yuezhi tribes, and welded them into a tight confederation under Yabgu Kujalakadphises. The name Gushwang was adopted in the West and modified into Kushan to designate the confederation, although the Chinese continued to call them Yuezhi, gradually wresting control of the area from the Scythian tribes. The Kushans expanded south into the region traditionally known as Gandhara and established twin capitals near present-day Kabul and Peshawar, then known as Kapasar and Pushklavati respectively. The Kushans adopted elements of the Hellenistic culture of Bactria. They adopted the Greek alphabet to suit their own language and soon began minting coinage on the Greek model. On the coins they used Greek language legends combined with Pali legends, until the first few years of the reign of Kanishka. After that date, they used Kushan language legends, combined with legends in Greek and legends in Prakrit. The Kushans are believed to have been predominantly Zoroastrian. However, from the time of Imatatta, many Kushans started adopting aspects of Buddhist culture. Like the Egyptians, they absorbed the strong remnants of the Greek culture of the Hellenistic kingdoms, becoming at least partly Hellenized. The great Kushan emperor Vemacadphises may have embraced Saivism, as surmised by coins minted during the period. The following Kushan emperors represented a wide variety of faiths including Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, and possibly Saivism. The rule of the Kushans linked the seagoing trade of the Indian Ocean with the commerce of the Silk Road through the long civilized Indus Valley. At the height of the dynasty, the Kushans loosely ruled a territory that extended to the Aral Sea through present-day Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan into northern India. The loose unity and comparative peace of such a vast expanse encouraged long-distance trade, brought Chinese silks to Rome, and created strings of flourishing urban centers. Territorial expansion. Rosenfield notes that archaeological evidence of a Kushan rule of long duration is present in an area stretching from Surkotal, Bigram, the summer capital of the Kushans, Peshawar, the capital under Kanishka the First, Taxila, and Mathura, the winter capital of the Kushans. Other areas of probable rule include Khwarazm, Kaushambi, Sanchi and Sarnat, Malwa and Maharashtra, Odisha. Kushan invasions in the 1st century CE had been given as an explanation for the migration of Indians from the Indian subcontinent toward Southeast Asia according to proponents of a Greater India theory by 20th century Indian nationalists. However, there is no evidence to support this hypothesis. The recently discovered Rabitak inscription confirms the account of the Huhanshu, Vailur, and inscriptions dated early in the Kanishka era, that large Kushan dominions expanded into the heartland of northern India in the early 2nd century CE. The lines 4 to 7 of the inscription describe the cities which were under the rule of Kanishka, among which 6 names are identifiable: Ujjain, Kundina, Sakata, Kausambi, Pataliputra, and Kampa. Northward, in the 2nd century AD, the Kushans under Kanishka made various forays into the Tarim Basin, seemingly the original ground of their ancestors the Yuezhi, where they had various contacts with the Chinese. Both archaeological findings and literary evidence suggest Kushan rule in Kashgar, Yarkand and Khotan. The Kushan state was bounded to the south by the Parata state of Balochistan, a western Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan was known for the Kushan Buddhist city of Merv. As late as the 3rd century AD, decorated coins of Hruska were dedicated at Bodh Gaya together with other gold offerings under the Enlightenment throne of the Buddha, suggesting direct Kushan influence in the area during that period. Gallery of Merv Buddhist Kushan city. Great Kyzqala, Little Kyzqala, part of Kyzqala, Kushan Afrids. The Afrids were a native Khorasmian dynasty which ruled over the kingdom of Khwarezm from 305 until 995. Sometimes, it was under Sasanian control. Khwarezmian is an extinct East Iranian language closely related to Sogdian. The language was spoken in the area of Khwarezm, centered in the lower Amudaya south of the Aral Sea in Kazakhstan. Our knowledge of Khwarezmian is limited to its Middle Iranian stage and, as with Sogdian, little is known of its ancient form. From the writings of the great Khwarezmian scholars, Al-Biruni and Zamakhshari, we know that the language was in use at least until the 13th century, when it was gradually replaced by Persian and Turkic languages for the most part, as well as several dialects with Kushan religion. Main Kushan rulers. Kujula Kadphises. The prince, Elivor, of Gushwang, named Tvilak, Kujula Kadphises, attacked and exterminated the 4 other Ziho. He established himself his king, and his dynasty was called that of the Gushwang, Kushan, king. He invaded Angsi, Indo-Parthia, and took the Gaofu, Kabul, region. He also defeated the whole of the kingdoms of Puda, Paktia, and Jibin, Kapasha and Gandhara. Kyugyuk, Kujula Kadphises, was more than 80 years old when he died. Huhanshu. These conquests probably took place sometime between 45 and 60. And laid the basis for the Kushan Empire, which was rapidly expanded by his descendants. Kujula issued an extensive series of coins and fathered at least 2 sons, Sadis Kana, and seemingly Vima Takta. Kujula Kadphises was the great-grandfather of Kanishka. Vima Takta or Sadash Kana Vima Takta is mentioned in the Rabitak inscription. He was the predecessor of Vima Kadphises, and Kanishka the First. He expanded the Kushan Empire into the northwest of the South Asia. The Huhanshu says, his son, Zhang Aozhen, probably Vematahk or, possibly, his brother Sadis Kana, became king in his place. He defeated Tianju, northwestern India, and installed generals to supervise and lead it. The Yuezhi then became extremely rich. All the kingdoms call the king the Gushwang, Kushan, king, but the Han called them by their original name. Yuezhi, Huhanshu. Vima Kadphises. Vima Kadphises was a Kushan emperor from around 90100 CE. The son of Sadash Kana and the grandson of Kujula Kadphises, and the father of Kanishka the First, as detailed by the Rabitak inscription. Vima Kadphises added to the Kushan territory by his conquests in Afghanistan and northwest Pakistan. He issued an extensive series of coins and inscriptions. He issued gold coins in addition to the existing copper and silver coinage. Kanishka the First, the rule of Kanishka the Great, 5th Kushan king, who flourished for about 13 years from c. 127. Upon his accession, Kanishka ruled the huge territory, south to Ujjain and Kundina and east beyond Pataliputra, according to the Rabatak inscription. In the year 1, it has been proclaimed unto India, and to the whole realm of the governing class, including Kunadianor and the city of Ozano and the city of Zajada and the city of Kozumbo and the city of Palabotra and so long unto the city of Siri-Tambo. Rabatak inscription, lines 4-6. His territory was administered from two capitals, Purashapura and Mathura, in northern India. He is also credited for building the massive, ancient fort at Bathinda, in the modern city of Bathinda, Indian Punjab. The Kushans also had a summer capital in Bagram, where the Bagram treasure, comprising works of art from Greece to China, has been found. Kanishka's era is now generally accepted to have begun in 127 on the basis of Harry Fork's groundbreaking research. Kanishka's era was used as a calendar reference by the Kushans for about a century, until the decline of the Kushan realm. Vasishka was a Kushan emperor who seems to have a 20-year reign following Kanishka. His rule is recorded as far south as Sanchi, where several inscriptions in his name have been found, dated to the year 22 and year 28 of the Kanishka era. Hruska was a Kushan emperor from about 20 years after the death of Kanishka until the succession of Vasudeva I about 30 years later. His rule was a period of retrenchment and consolidation for the empire. In particular, he devoted time and effort early in his reign to the exertion of greater control over the city of Mathura. Vasudeva I was the last of the great Kushans, named inscriptions dating from year 64 to 98 of Kanishka's era suggest his reign extended from at least 191 to 225 AD. He was the last great Kushan emperor, and the end of his rule coincides with the invasion of the Sasanians as far as northwestern India, and the establishment of the Indo-Sasanians or Kushanshas in what is nowadays Afghanistan, Pakistan and northwestern India from around 240 AD. Kushan deities. The Kushan religious pantheon is extremely varied, as revealed by their coins that were made in gold, silver, and copper. These coins contained more than 30 different gods, belonging mainly to their own Iranic, Greek, and Indo-Aryan worlds as well. Kushan coins had images of Kushan kings, Buddha, and figures from the Indo-Aryan and Iranian pantheons. Greek deities, with Greek names, are represented on early coins. During Kanishka's reign, the language of the coinage changes to Bactrian. After Hruska, only two divinities appear on the coins, Ardoksho and Isho. The Iranic entities depicted on coinage include Alpha Rho Delta Omicron Chi Tho Micron, Ath Alpha Epsilon Iota Chi Tho, Alpha Theta Tho Micron, Phi Alpha Rho Omicron, Lambda Rho Omicron Omicron Alpha Sigma Pi Omicron, Mu Alpha Nu Alpha Omicron Beta Alpha Gamma Omicron, Mu Alpha Omicron, Mu Iota Theta Rho Omicron, Mu Iota Iota Rho Omicron, Mu Iota Omicron Rho Omicron, Mu Iota Upsilon Rho Omicron, Mu Omicron Zeta Delta Omicron Omicron Alpha Nu Omicron, Nu Alpha Nu Alpha, Nu Alpha Nu Alpha Iota Alpha, Nu Alpha Nu Alpha Alpha Omicron, Omicron Alpha Delta Omicron, O Alpha XTHO, Uro O Mu O Zeta Delta Omicron, Omicron Rho Alpha Lambda Alpha Gamma Nu Omicron, Tau Iota Epsilon Rho Omicron, representation of entities from Greek mythology and Hellenistic syncretism are eta lambda iota omicron sigma, eta phi alpha eta sigma tau omicron sigma, sigma alpha lambda eta nu eta, alpha nu eta mu omicron sigma. Further, the coins of Hruska also portray the demi-god Heraclo Heracles, and the Egyptian gods Sarapo Serapis. The Indic entities represented on coinage include beta omicron delta delta omicron, mu epsilon tau rho alpha gamma omicron beta omicron delta delta omicron, m alpha alpha sigma eta nu o, sigma kappa alpha nu delta o co mu alpha o, th alpha kappa alpha mu alpha nu omicron beta omicron delta delta omicron. Additionally, omicron eta omicron, long considered to represent Indic Shiva, but also identified as Avestan Vayu conflated with Shiva. 2 copper coins of Hruska bear a Ganesha legend, but instead of depicting the typical theriomorphic figure of Ganesha, have a figure of an archer holding a full-length bow with string inwards and an arrow. This is typically a depiction of Rudra, but in the case of these 2 coins is generally assumed to represent Shiva.